Well, it seems like we got some Nintendo fanboy content creators defending the overpriced Nintendo Switch 2 game. If you haven't heard already, some Nintendo Switch 2 games will cost you $80 for a digital copy and $90 for a physical copy. And this will unfortunately set the precedent so other developers can do the same. And now we have two content creators defending this. The first one is Raz0rFist, who is a groomer and an adult film star. Allegedly, gotta say allegedly, because his loser copyright strike one of my videos, but that's a story for another time. And the second one is Geeks and Gamers, who is telling you should shut up and pay for the $80 game because games used to be $80 on the original Nintendo and Super Nintendo system. These people are too dumb to understand the full argument, and we're gonna look at the tweets that they posted. But before we get into it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to push this video out in the YouTube algorithm. And here's a quote tweet from Raz0rFist responding to someone saying they're not gonna pay $80 for a Donkey Kong game. And he said this: "How old are you? Because if you're old enough to have played the Nintendo Entertainment System or Super Nintendo Entertainment System, you remember that games used to cost whatever Nintendo, Sony, or Sega felt like charging. Final Fantasy 3 cost $80 in the 90s, and that wasn't at all uncommon. You're too stupid to understand the point people are trying to make. It doesn't matter what games cost before. They are not worth $80 today. No game is worth $80 fucking in today's society. Nintendo is just being greedy for the sake of being greedy. People were already tired of $70 games, and now other developers will see what Nintendo is doing and they will raise the price as well. And the main problem is that shitty, terrible, boring, buggy, busted, ugly, lame, slop games will cost $80, $90, possibly even more. Some people might say Nintendo games are worth $80. Personally, I think they're way too short. They should be a lot longer. But if you think Nintendo games are worth $80, that doesn't mean some gay, DEI, sweet baby, ugly ass female bitches game with a girl boss. That doesn't mean that game is worth $80. But these developers don't fucking care. They will see the price tag that Nintendo is placing on their games, and they will do the same regardless if their game is just as good as Nintendo games. That's the point that people are trying to make. And then Geeks and Gamers came in to agree with Raz0rFist. He said this: "Yup, that's why I'm personally not bothered at all. I don't think these idiots are looking at it from the average American perspective, especially in the economy nowadays, and especially since it's a huge jump in price so suddenly. It wasn't over time. They didn't go from 70 to 75 to 80 to 90. Matter of fact, they didn't even start at 70. Nintendo games are usually 60. They didn't make their game 70. So now they're going from 60 to 80 or 90 if you buy a physical copy of a fucking video game. And that huge change in a short time will shock many people. It will shock parents who are just trying to buy a video game for their kids. Parents will say, well, I just bought a Nintendo game for $60. Now I have to pay $30 more? Sorry, Timmy, I can't afford this." That's what a lot of parents are gonna say. As soon as I heard the price for the games, I instantly lost all excitement for this console. Because I'm used to buying games that are $20 and cheaper, and I definitely will not be buying games that are $80 or more. But these two idiot content creators are just far beyond out of touch, and they just want to suck Nintendo's cock. And everybody in the replies are calling them out, like this reply here: "Times have changed and are different since then. The two are not one and the same. Considering there is a talk of moving games to $100, this is just silly. Gamers want cheaper games, less battle passes, more content in the game, and less DLCs. Exactly, that's what those two idiots didn't even mention. When other developers do this, that doesn't mean they're gonna stop charging us extra money for more content, like season passes and battle passes and microtransactions and skins and loot boxes and DLCs. They will still charge us all of these different things despite increasing the base game to $80. And $80 is just the base game. These developers have like deluxe editions and super deluxe editions and collector's editions that come with these cheap Chinese statues. All of those are gonna go up as well. But these idiots are too stupid to understand that. But of course, every single time we talk about the price of games, some idiot in the replies gotta bring up the inflation calculator. And that's what this idiot is doing here. He shows the inflation calculator, and it says in 1994, $80 will be equal to $172 in 2025. I don't give a fuck. That is irrelevant to me. $80 in today's money is not worth any fucking video game. I don't care what $80 used to be. $80 today is not worth a video game. This is just a pathetic argument to try and excuse companies charging us way too much money. We live in a totally different society with totally different prices for everything, not just gaming. Food, rent, water, gas, everything is more expensive than it was 30 years ago. But you're not factoring that in. You're only thinking about the game, but you're not thinking about the necessities that people have to buy. And back then, food wasn't as expensive. Housing wasn't as expensive. But now, because it's too expensive nowadays, people don't have as much money to spend on entertainment. So when entertainment gets higher in price, it means people will most likely consume less. But of course, every fucking time we talk about the price of games, some idiot gotta compare it to the price of movies, even though movies is completely different. And that's what this fucking retard is doing here. Honestly, it's a good deal when you consider the cost per hour played. 5 hours of gameplay or so, and you're already beating going to the cinema. If you play one game for 300 hours, it more than makes up for the hours. First of all, I don't understand this retarded idea of comparing hours spent versus money spent. I don't care if 5 hours of a video game is equal to a movie, or beating a movie, or equal to 2-3 movies. That's irrelevant. Some people want to use the retarded argument of, oh, why can't we get $1 for an hour? If we pay $70 for a game, that means the game should be 70 hours long. No, retard. The hours spent is not inherently connected to the price. Inherently. Games should not be too short and games should not be too long. I don't like when games are long and bloated. I don't want every game to be 300 fucking hours. What game is even 300 hours? What game are you referring to? I can't think of any game that's 300 hours worth of content. Now, I'm not talking about multiplayer games. Shut the fuck up if you're talking about multiplayer games. Not every game is a multiplayer game that will be played for years. So unless you're talking about multiplayer games, shut the fuck up. These pathetic fucking losers will just say anything to defend these overpriced games. And people like Geeks and Gamers and Raz0rFist are too fucking retarded to understand the full argument. Not every game is worth $80, $90. That's it. Nintendo games are great. Nintendo games are fun. They don't do a bunch of bloated, repetitive, open world nonsense. They do have some open world games like Mario Odyssey, and that game is fun. But not every fucking open world game is fun. Most Nintendo games are fun, but most AAA games are not fun. That's the fucking difference. I don't think even Nintendo games are worth $80. Like I said, there's plenty of Nintendo games that are like 5 hours long. Yoshi's Crafted World is like 5 hours. Luigi's Mansion 3 is like 6-7 hours. Link's Awakening Remake is like 4-5 hours. Those games aren't even worth $60. And now the next ones, the next sequels to those games will cost $80-$90? Fuck off. This is fucking ridiculous. The price tag of these games has pissed me off and I will not be buying the Switch. I am not in the mood to buy that shit at all. If you want to be stupid and out of touch and claim that that's not a lot of money because Super Nintendo games were $80, you're a fucking idiot. And you're not even mentioning the fact that those games were expensive to manufacture, and that has nothing to do with digital games nowadays. But these people are Nintendo dick riders, so they will defend the company no matter what. So I don't have much else to say. I don't want to keep repeating myself, so Raz0rFist and Geeks and Gamers, go fuck yourself.